Are you going to proclaim Jesus as sovereign or not? Does he care about these things or not? Does he care about this man or doesn't he? But we have to approach it from a perspective that Jesus would, empathizing and really trying to see from the other person's perspective, really understand from how they understand things and how they see things and how they feel things as to why this is an issue for them. As long as we cannot do that, we cannot reach these people. And that's a very serious thing. Today, we're going to take a look at two fools. And I don't use that word flippantly. One is sort of a minor fool. The other one is much more prominent and well-known among the Christian YouTube community. And he is the utter fool here because he is leading people away from at the very least, he is leading them away from biblical theology and from being able to know how to engage with unbelievers or believers of different faith. He is very arrogant and prideful. And so I don't really do this on the channel. I usually disagree with people who have at least something worth replying to or disagreeing with. But I can't stomach this guy. And so his name is David Lynn. And so we're going to look at just a short clip because he deleted, it seems like, or copyright striked everybody who had this video up at all. And so the only video I was able to recover was it's just 12, 15 seconds of the original video. And it was from some other YouTuber's reel. So we'll take a look at that. Let's look at just two things, though. First, we're going to look at the YouTuber, what he says and how he commends this fool, David Lynn. And then we're going to see how this fool, David Lynn, absolutely brings reproach to the name of Christ and dishonors his word, his people, the gospel, and how he interacts with this young man. And we're only looking at 12 seconds or so, 12 to 15 seconds. If it was longer, I would point out all the other things, and I'll mention some to you, but let's just take a look at what he has actually said. The video is in very poor quality. It was, like I said, the only one that I could find that hadn't been taken down or copyright strike. But you really just need to hear, really, but you'll be able to see as well. So let's see.
This right here is the very definition of being saved, not soft. And best be careful. When you try to make a fool of God, you might be the one that actually comes out looking like a fool. Check this video out.
This is the minor fool that I'm talking about. If you have to choose between behaving how David Lynn is going to or being soft, be soft every single time without a second thought. Where comes this idea now in Christianity, in coming into the church, either from outside the faith or inside the faith who are being affected by the world, and thinking that in order to be a godly man, you must be masculine according to how the world defines masculinity? That you have to be up in somebody's face, that you have to be combative, that you have to be willing to go tit for tat with other people. They say something, you say something back. And this is just utterly nonsensical. It's unbiblical. What happened to Jesus is very biblical, just the plainest teachings that even atheists believe. To what? Love your neighbor as yourself. Do you want to be treated how David Lynn now is going to treat this kid? You have to ask yourself. And if it makes you happy, as it clearly does to this guy, I mean, he's showing it off. He's smiling about it. He's going to further laugh about it. This is no endorsement for trying to make God out to be a fool, which this kid does not do. He simply has an issue. And so, yeah, obviously none of us, all of us are going to look like fools if anybody's to ever try to make God look like a fool. But that's not your job to tell him what an utter fool he is. Your job is to love in a godly way. And that doesn't mean in some, lovey-dovey teddy bear type of love. I'm not saying or suggesting that at all. I think that is completely unbiblical. But it does not mean to become and act like the world. So just let's play and see, so you can see what I'm talking about here. Just for context, this kid comes up, and this kid, I don't know if he has anything, particularly if he's just sort of socially exiled, outcast, and that may be the case, or if there's any other problems that he may have. But this is, and it may seem like a absolutely silly problem, but listen to what he says.
Jesus is not real.
Okay.
If Jesus was real, I would have a girlfriend. Where is Jesus? Where is Jesus?
You don't have a girlfriend because you're ugly, bro.
I'm not ugly.
That's why, man. It ain't nothing to do with Jesus, bro.
This doesn't call me ugly.
Yeah, I did call you ugly because you're trying to tell me that Jesus ain't real.
Step down there.
Step down. I'll step down. You want to step up to me too?
I don't see you, bro.
I don't see you either. I don't see you. Girls don't see you.
What?
You're the one without a girlfriend. I'm married, bro.
Girls don't see me.
You're the one who said you couldn't get a girlfriend. Did you not say that?
It's just disgusting. It's repulsive. It makes me want to spit. This kid has a problem. Biblically, not just me personally, the Bible does not put any issue so small that when it comes in the way of a person believing in the gospel, it's just we get to measure between trivial and very serious things. There's no place for that. There are things that keep a person from coming to the gospel. And for this particular kid, his problem is that he is obviously perhaps socially rejected by people as a whole, but certainly rejected by women. And there seems to be an idolatry of women here, a very high view and desire for women that he determines his self-worth from women. And that is not unique to this guy's case. Perhaps many of us wouldn't bring it up in this way, but I guarantee you all of us who are men have idolized women in some way, shape, or form. Instead of empathizing with him and saying, it was really hard for me to, when I was younger, to find someone that liked me. Usually the girls that liked me or that I liked never liked me back. And it was always so hurtful to me when I was rejected. And so I can understand your desire for a good thing, for a relationship, which is good in God's sight. Marriage is good in God's sight, and to long for that is good. But I want you to think about Jesus' call and whether Jesus is worthy of being placed above any desire. Your desire for women, your desire for a career, your desire for health. Let me tell you about who he is. Let me tell you how he loved you and gave himself for you. Not a inkling about that. Nothing about that. His immediate thing is he pushes him away and says, whoa, you're ugly, bro. It's got nothing to do with Jesus. You're ugly. Well, first off, if everything is about Jesus, you've just now said that there's one thing that Jesus doesn't actually care about. He doesn't care about your social life. He doesn't care about your standing. He doesn't care about you having a wife. He doesn't care about relationships, whether they be friendships or romantic relationships. He doesn't care about any of that stuff. No. That's got nothing to do with Jesus, bro. Are you going to proclaim Jesus as sovereign or not? Does he care about these things or not? Does he care about this man or doesn't he? And he goes on, the angry young man, saying, come on, step down. And he's like, okay, I'll step down. Really? As a Christian, apparently standing on the street corner trying to proclaim the gospel. Oh yeah, I'll step down to you, bro. What's up, man? What's up? And the kid tells him, I don't see you. He's like, well, girls don't see you. I'm married. Look at me. Yeah, I'm married, bro. You're single. You can't find a girlfriend. If I had a trash can next to me, I would spit. I would absolutely spit. It's just disgusting to me how anybody could see this man or call him a quote unquote preacher. This is no preacher with the way that he behaves and the way he represents how a godly man ought to be. Does he not know he's reflecting Christ? Doesn't Paul say in Romans chapter 2 how the name of God is blasphemed among the Gentiles because of how Jews are hypocrites, knowing the law and knowing what is good and doing the opposite thing, and therefore bringing dishonor to God's name and blaspheming him among the Gentiles? Is he not doing the same thing? We all do the same thing every time that we fail to reflect Christ to others. Then we are saying, essentially, when we fail to love, when we fail to empathize or care, we're saying, well, God doesn't either. Because I'm a Christian, I adhere to the biblical principles, and because I don't care must mean that God doesn't care, which is not true. But remember, we're not talking to theologians here. We're talking to people who don't know the gospel, who don't know Christianity. And so there's just multiple steps, multiple things here that are just detestable, that no man who would proclaim the name of Christ must ever be like, ever. I wish that I could have come in contact with this man who's struggling with wanting to find someone who loves him. As a non-believer, even in high school, I was so obsessed with defining my self-worth from women. And the kind of woman that I could get or have was an indicator to me of my value. So the more there was a woman that I wanted, that I thought was beautiful, and of course there must have been so many elements of lust involved, but at the time it was just a great amount of, like, I was being deprived of one thing in life that I really wanted. And I was a teenager, and ultimately it resulted in me going down a path of having to try to find out the reason. And I studied people. I looked at all the people that these women liked and what are common, attributes, characteristics about them. And I started to say, well, they all look a very particular way. And so I started to feel that I was extremely, reprehensibly undesirable. And ultimately it resulted in me, before the age of 18, when I was 16 to 17, before the start of my senior year in high school, I went so far as to have plastic surgery on my nose, because I came down to the conclusion that that's what's making me look so reprehensible, and I have to change it. I have to. I absolutely have to. And so perhaps I can feel from and empathize more with this man than certainly David Lynn, but perhaps more than most people could, because I can understand what he's saying. I can understand what he's saying. But whether or not you've gone through the same things that I have, or have had the same experience, had the same struggles, whether or not that was the issue, no issue for us as Christians is to be treated as he treated this man's issue when it comes to the very person we're evangelizing to, professing that this very problem is the reason they are not coming to faith in Christ. Any reason. I don't care if it's your diet that's the reason for you not coming to Christ. I don't care if it's your size, your weight, your height. It doesn't matter, because that is what ultimately the person is identifying with and placing above God. And so that needs to be approached in a manner that's worthy of what it is depriving that person of. And that is ultimately of the gospel of Jesus Christ. And so we have to be able to see, not from our perspective, not to how something may seem to us, but we have to approach it from a perspective that Jesus would, empathizing and really trying to see from the other person's perspective, really understand from how they understand things and how they see things and how they feel things as to why this is an issue for them. As long as we cannot do that, we cannot reach these people. And that's a very serious thing. It's a very serious thing. And just to mention it again, this man in the corner, dude, what is wrong with you? I don't know much about, hardly anything about this man, if he's a true Christian or not. How is this something you could laugh at? How? I mean, you guys tell me in the comments below. Is this a proper response to someone with an objection like that? That his problem is I can't get a girlfriend? Is your response to him? Is it proper? It's because you're ugly, bro. It's got nothing to do with Jesus. Jesus is with all that other stuff. He doesn't have anything to do with you being ugly. You're just ugly. How about that he fashioned him, that he made him, they formed him together in his mother's womb? How about any of that? No. Let me know what you guys think, because I'm certain, as popular as this was before he copy striked everybody, as popular as this video was, people really agreed with it. And I want to know why. If you do agree, tell me. If you don't, tell me why. And I will see you guys in the next video. There's another video I will do on him and his reprehensible answer to the question of suffering. But we will look into that at the next video. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.